Be aware, your thoughts are not yours alone right now. I need you to hear this clearly because something subtle, silent, and wildly powerful has already begun. It crept in behind your conversations. It threaded itself into your half-finished sentences. It tapped at the back of your mind while you were busy trying to focus on something else. And while most people will scroll past this moment without noticing a thing, you didn't. You felt it. Maybe it showed up as restlessness. Maybe it came in the form of sudden clarity, or a strange sense that your words were echoing back louder than they should. That's not your imagination. That's alignment. That's a transmission already in motion. We've entered a 3-day corridor that's unlike anything you've felt in a while. It's not dramatic. It's not loud. It doesn't come with a warning label. But the ones who are sensitive, who've been waking at 3 a.m., feeling pulses in their temples, zoning out mid-thought, or catching themselves whispering things that seem to come from nowhere, they're already receiving. And if you're here, it's because you're one of them. Your mind has been marked. Right now, we're entering a rare cosmic alignment where Mercury, the planet of communication, cognition, language, and thought, is linking up with 3 powerful forces in rapid succession: Saturn, Neptune, and Pluto. This isn't astrology fluff. These are archetypal forces shaping the nervous system of the sky, and your mind is the antenna. Saturn structures, Neptune dreams, Pluto reveals, and Mercury translates, which means your thoughts, your words, and your ideas are no longer private. They're magnetic. They're rituals in motion. And here's the part most people won't understand in time. What you say, what you write, and what you even think during these 72 hours will shape your direction permanently. We're not talking about vague affirmations. We're talking about karmic instructions echoing through your future. That's why you must stay with me. Because somewhere in these next few moments, I'll reveal something you'll likely encounter soon. A small moment, a tiny detail, something that seems unimportant at first. But it holds a hidden key. When it happens, and it will, you'll remember this. You'll remember that you were warned, and more importantly, you'll know what to do with it. But first, let's pause. If you've been feeling this already, if your mind's been louder, your dreams more vivid, your words strangely accurate, like this video right now to anchor your intention. Subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. And drop the number 77 in the comments if you've been sensing a shift. Not just for you, but to ripple this message outward, to reach the others who are just now waking up to the signal. You were shown this message for a reason. Let's mark this moment together, because the world is about to speak to you through your own voice, and you need to understand what that really means. You see, Mercury is not just a planet, it's a current. It governs not only how you communicate with others, but how you interpret reality. And right now, Mercury is syncing with Saturn, offering a once-in-a-season clarity that feels like mental scaffolding being rebuilt. You may find yourself suddenly knowing what you need to say, or what needs to end. That isn't just thought. That's Saturn's hand, helping you build something solid, through words, decisions, and boundaries. But the alignment doesn't stop there. The next day, Mercury touches Neptune, a deep sea of imagination, dreams, divine whispers. And that's when things get strange. That's when thoughts stop feeling like thoughts and begin to feel like visions. You'll imagine things you haven't dared to dream in years. You'll feel pulled toward music, words, and images that speak to a forgotten part of you. And the question will come, is this fantasy? Or is this a message? Then, just when you think it's all wonder and poetry, Mercury moves to face Pluto, the deep shadow, the underworld, the truth beneath all truths. And something will be said, maybe by you, maybe to you, but it won't be easy. It will hit like lightning. It will feel like someone just ripped the veil off a secret you've been hiding even from yourself. This is not a coincidence. It's a sequence. Clarity, vision, truth. These aren't separate. They're parts of one process, a 3-day activation of the mind, the voice, and the unseen self. And somewhere inside it, you will experience a moment that feels oddly specific, like déjà vu, like the universe is whispering something only you are meant to hear. That moment, it's coming, and when it arrives, it will carry the exact signal we're here to talk about today. So stay with me, because the next part of this video could be the message your higher self has been trying to deliver through signs, through strangers, and through silence. It's time to hear it, clearly, consciously, and without looking away. Like, subscribe, and mark this moment with 77 in the comments. This is not entertainment. This is activation, and the real shift is just beginning. Number 1. You're not thinking, you're channeling. Let's begin with the part you might already be sensing, but haven't had the words to explain. Your thoughts don't feel like they used to. Something about them has shifted. They're heavier, but more precise. They carry more consequence. It's like your inner dialogue has leveled up, but you didn't consciously ask for it. That's because you didn't initiate this. You're not just thinking, you're channeling. Right now, Mercury, the planet of mind, language, and cognition, is not moving casually. It's moving deliberately through a corridor of ancient intelligence. And at this exact moment, it's aligning with Saturn, the cosmic architect. Saturn doesn't deal in fluff. Saturn builds timelines, karma, structure, contracts. So when Mercury touches Saturn, your thoughts don't just become reflections, they become directives. They begin to build, words become bricks, sentences become architecture. What you think and say now isn't just passing through, it's shaping the infrastructure of your life. You might be asking yourself, but I've had intense thoughts before. How is this different? The difference lies in the weight. Lately, when a thought drops in, it doesn't feel like casual overthinking. It feels like a deep chord has been struck. You might feel it in your chest or stomach. You pause mid-sentence and wonder why that phrase hit so hard. That's the echo of Saturn through Mercury. It gives your words mass. Imagine your mind as a satellite dish. Usually it spins around catching stray signals, memories, distractions, random observations. But now, it's been reoriented, pointed towards something higher, something with intention. You're not just observing anymore, you're decoding. And those flashes of sudden clarity, the kind that make you sit up straight or stop scrolling, those are transmissions. They're not meant to be over-analyzed. They're meant to be followed. That's the tricky part. This isn't about figuring it out. This energy doesn't want your logic to dominate. It wants your listening. Because when Mercury meets Saturn, it's not asking you to control your thoughts. It's asking you to take them seriously. To treat each insight like a blueprint, not just a passing idea. You might be wondering, what if I get it wrong? What if I act on the wrong thought? But here's the thing, the thoughts that matter under this transit don't fade. They repeat, they echo. They show up again in your dreams, in someone else's voice, in a line from a song that lands too perfectly. That's how you know it's a transmission, not a distraction. The thought won't beg you. It will wait for you until you're ready. This is the phase of mental construction. Saturn is handing you tools, Mercury is showing you how to use them, but it's up to you whether you start building or keep looping. The thoughts you follow now become the foundation you walk on later. So if you've found yourself drawn to journaling, speaking aloud when no one is listening, rewriting your goals, or even scripting conversations in your head, don't dismiss it. That's Mercury guiding your hand. That's Saturn saying, good, now speak it into form. You're not going crazy. You're not overthinking. You're translating the unseen into the seen. And this is only the beginning, because the thoughts that just got structured, they're about to be flooded with vision. Stay with me. What happens next might feel like fantasy, but it's far from imaginary. It's the second layer of the transmission. and it's where the future starts whispering through your dreams. Number 2, your words are becoming contracts. Be careful what you say. Now that the thoughts are forming with weight, something even more subtle begins to unfold. Your words are starting to crystallize. Not just the words you speak out loud, but the ones you whisper under your breath, the ones you mutter when no one's listening, the ones you think no one hears, but your energy field does. This is the second layer of the alignment, where Mercury isn't just organizing thoughts, it's activating voice. And Saturn, still present, still watching, begins to do what it does best: turn words into agreements. Saturn doesn't play with intention lightly. Every word becomes a signature, a contract your frequency signs even if your mouth forgets. That's why lately you may have noticed your voice carrying more power. You speak something, then it happens. You joke about being tired, and suddenly your body shuts down. You say you're done with something, and within hours something breaks to reflect that. This is not coincidence. This is cosmic notarization. Your voice is acting like a pen on the fabric of reality. Each complaint becomes a binding declaration. Each blessing travels farther than you expect. That casual remark, that sarcastic, "I don't care anymore," the universe might take that literally under this influence. You might be wondering, does that mean I have to be perfect with my words? Not perfect, just present. Be intentional. Be awake. When Mercury is this connected to Saturn, the words that carry emotion and certainty are the ones that imprint. That's why affirmations feel stronger now. That's why arguments feel heavier. That's why compliments hit deeper. It's not just what you say, it's how much of your energy rides on it. And here's something most won't notice. You may soon find yourself speaking a sentence that feels like it came from someone else. A phrase that escapes your mouth and then stops you in your tracks. Pay attention. That's the moment I mentioned earlier, the message your future self is trying to smuggle into your current reality. It won't be dramatic. It might even feel random, but something in your body will freeze when it happens. A quiet alert, a spine-tingling pause. Don't brush it off. Because when that moment lands, it's not just a message. It's a direction change, coded into language, disguised as your own voice, and it's only just beginning to unfold. Number 3, you're dreaming while awake. And then it softens. The clarity and structure that Mercury and Saturn demanded from your thoughts begins to blur at the edges. Your focus drifts. You catch yourself staring into nothing mid-sentence. You reread the same paragraph 3 times. You begin to imagine conversations before they happen. Not because you're distracted, but because something else has stepped in. Neptune has entered the current. When Neptune touches Mercury, the mind begins to dream even with eyes wide open. Logic begins to dissolve, not to confuse you, but to expand you. You're not spacing out, you're spacing through. The veil thins, not with thunder, but with silence. Thoughts begin to soften into shapes. Words become images. Plans begin to feel like memories. It's disorienting if you resist it, but transcendent if you listen. You might ask, why can't I concentrate? Why does everything feel so fluid? Because your third eye, the part of you that sees beyond time, is becoming louder than your linear brain. That sudden urge to doodle, to revisit an old song, to pull out childhood books, to look at the stars longer than usual. That's not regression, that's resonance. Neptune is surfacing buried symbols that your soul remembers, even if your conscious mind doesn't. This is the part where downloads begin, not in thunderbolts, but in symbols. A dream you had last night. It holds a message, but not in words. It speaks through pattern. That stranger's face that looked oddly familiar. That was a soul mirror sent to stir something hidden. A sudden craving for a scent you haven't smelled in years. That's memory, not of this life, but of a frequency returning. You're not imagining too much. You're remembering too fast. Neptune doesn't work like Saturn. It doesn't offer contracts. It offers clouds, reflections, glimpses. And your job right now is not to define the vision, it's to trust that it's forming. When imagination surges under this alignment, it's not to escape reality, it's to widen it. And sometimes, in that widening, something slips through, a fragment of your future, masked as fantasy. And that's what this phase is revealing. So if you find yourself dreaming during the day, leaning toward poetry instead of strategy, seeking wonder instead of structure, let it happen. Because the preview you're receiving now may be the very thing you'll step into next. All you have to do is stop calling it a distraction. It's not. It's guidance. And something inside it is trying to be seen before it becomes real. Number 4. The mind is splitting into 2 timelines, and just as you begin to surrender to the dreamlike flow, something else starts to stir beneath the surface. A tension, a quiet friction. It feels like standing at a crossroads, but not externally. In your own mind, one path is lit by everything you've known, routine, logic, predictability. The other glows faintly with mystery, possibility, and a strange sense of pull. Both feel real, both seem accessible, but you can't walk both. This is the moment when the mind begins to split. Under Neptune's current, Mercury doesn't just expand, it begins to divide. Like a prism held to the light, your mental field refracts. You start to operate with dual awareness. Part of you wants to stay grounded. The other part, it's reaching forward, chasing that glimmer of what if. One side of the split thinks, I should be practical. The other whispers, but what if there's more? That whisper? That's Neptune's invitation. And it's not a trick, it's a test of alignment, a test of whether you trust the intuitive nudge or whether you fall back into the comfortable cage of certainty. You might be asking, how do I know which one is real? The answer isn't in evidence, it's in energy. The safe path feels familiar, yes, but it's also flat, predictable, linear. The other path might feel strange, even a bit surreal, but it pulls you. You feel it in your chest, your gut, the back of your neck. That sensation isn't anxiety, it's activation. And somewhere in this phase, a moment will arise. It won't announce itself. It may feel like déjà vu, but it's not memory. It's a temporal echo, something your higher self has marked, somewhere in your field. It could be a repeated sentence, a smell, a visual glitch, a sense that something's unfolding again, even if it never happened before. That's the sign. That's the moment you'll need to recognize. Because when you do, something unlocks, something clicks. The split in your mind is not confusion, it's invitation. One path is survival, the other is evolution. And the longer you stay in resistance, the foggier it feels. But the moment you follow the magnetic thread, even without a map, clarity follows. 2 timelines, 1 choice. And the real you already knows which one you're meant to walk. Number 5. The truth you've been avoiding will find you. And just when you think you've made peace with the pull of the unknown, Pluto arrives. Quietly, deeply, without permission. If Saturn gave your thoughts structure and Neptune stretched them into visions, Pluto now drags them down into the underworld. This is where your mental alignment stops being theoretical and starts becoming personal. Not surface-level insights, not dreams of possibility, but the truth you've been burying under, I'm fine and it's nothing. That truth is rising. Pluto doesn't care about your social mask. It doesn't care how much progress you think you've made. It comes for what's been left undone. So if you're feeling pressure in your chest, a lump in your throat, or if a single comment from someone suddenly cuts deeper than it should, that's not emotional oversensitivity. That's inner excavation. You might say something raw, something you didn't plan, It might come out like a whisper or a roar, or you might hear something, an offhand comment, a confession, a truth bomb, and feel the floor shift beneath you. Don't panic. This is not a breakdown. This is mental exorcism. It's your soul saying, we're not carrying this lie any further. You might ask, why now? Why can't I just stay in the dream state? Because your visions need a clean foundation. Pluto doesn't destroy to punish. It destroys to purify. If you're going to build the future you've started glimpsing, it cannot be built on a script you secretly hate. It cannot hold the weight of things you've refused to confront. This is the shadow work of thought, the place where inner dialogue becomes unavoidable. You may replay old conversations in your mind. You may remember something you tried to forget. You may feel irrational anger, grief, or guilt surface like a tidal wave. Let it. That's the purge. That's the purge before the clarity. Pluto brings death, yes, but also rebirth. And what it's killing now isn't you. It's the false narratives, the mental masks, the stories you've told yourself just to cope, the ones that kept you safe, but also kept you small. You don't need to fix it all today. You don't even need to explain it. You just need to let it rise, because what comes next can only land in a mind that's been cleared. And once it's cleared, something very specific arrives. Number 6, everything is a mirror. Watch what reflects. Now that Pluto has cracked the shell, don't be surprised if the world starts reacting to you in ways that feel disproportionate. Odd glances, sudden confessions, conversations that turn intense without warning. Some people may seem magnetized to your presence. Others may pull away without explanation. And no, it's not them, it's you. Because right now, you've become a mirror. When Mercury carries Pluto's residue through your energy field, your presence stops being passive. It reflects, it reveals. People around you are no longer responding to your words alone. They're responding to your frequency, to what's humming underneath the language. And this is where it gets real. What you trigger in others right now is often a reflection of something unresolved within yourself. You might ask, why is everyone so reactive lately? Why does it feel like I'm walking into tension I didn't create? Because you're not who you were a few days ago. This 3-day sequence is shifting you from silent receiver to active transmitter. And that means you're pulling truth to the surface, not just from yourself, but from everyone you interact with. It might feel like people are suddenly saying too much or misinterpreting you completely. That's not miscommunication. It's amplification. You're amplifying whatever is unspoken around you. That person who snaps at you for no reason, they're reacting to an echo they haven't faced yet. That stranger who opens up and tells you their life story after 5 minutes. They feel your frequency, recognizing theirs before either of you says a word. This is a test of discernment, not judgment, not blame, just awareness. Watch what reflects back to you this week. If you're attracting chaos, ask yourself what inside you still feels unsafe. If you're attracting deep honesty, it means you've made space for your own. Either way, the mirror doesn't lie. It simply reveals. And the more you stay present with these reflections, the more you'll start noticing patterns. Certain people surfacing again and again. Certain emotions being mirrored in unrelated places. That's not random, that's resonance. You are walking through the world right now as a frequency beacon. Every conversation is feedback, every reaction is insight. And something very specific is about to reflect back to you in a way that seems ordinary, but carries a message you cannot afford to ignore. That moment is closer than you think. Number 7. If you feel the urge to write it down, do it now. By now, the energy has moved through your thoughts, your voice, your visions, your shadows, and even the people around you. You've felt the shifts, you've seen the strange reflections. But now, something quieter begins to stir, not in the outside world, but within. A phrase, a whisper, a sentence you can't explain. Maybe it arrives while you're brushing your teeth. Maybe it drops in while you're scrolling, zoning out, or walking through a doorway. It feels sudden, but it's not. It's planted, timed, delivered. If it hasn't happened yet, it will. A flash of thought that feels too fast to fully catch. A name you weren't thinking about. A line of dialogue that writes itself in your head. An image that makes no logical sense, but feels oddly urgent. Don't analyze it, write it down. You might wonder, what if it's meaningless? What if I'm just imagining it? You're not now, not under this sky. Because when Mercury reaches this point in its 3-day journey, especially after contact with Neptune and Pluto, your thoughts are no longer only yours. They're carrying something from a deeper layer, a message not meant to be decoded right away but held, protected, remembered. This is your activation phrase. It's the part of the transmission designed specifically for you. It might sound vague at first, incomplete, even silly, but write it anyway. Because days, weeks, or months from now, when you're facing a choice, a shift, a conversation, you'll remember what you wrote, and it will make sense in a way that only experience can reveal. This is how Spirit speaks under Mercury's influence, not in dramatic visions, but in seemingly random thoughts that refuse to leave you alone. And once you write them down, you anchor the message into form. You take the abstract and give it structure. That's where the power lives, not just in receiving, but in responding. So if you feel that urge, mid-dream, mid-laundry, mid-conversation, to pause and capture something, do it. That's your turning point disguised as a passing moment. Because that fragment you catch today, it may be the map you'll need tomorrow. Number 8. And then it happens. The moment that changes everything. And then it happens. Not with fireworks, not with thunder, but in a breath, a sentence, a moment so subtle you almost miss it, but your body doesn't. You'll be speaking or listening or scrolling, and suddenly something someone says will feel like the world pressed pause. Not because the words are dramatic or profound. In fact, they may sound entirely ordinary, but deep inside, you'll know. It's the kind of moment that hits your nervous system before your mind can catch up. Your shoulders tense, your chest expands, you feel the hair rise on your arms. That's not anxiety, that's resonance. The signal has landed. This is what the past 3 days have been building toward. Mercury, the messenger, has walked you through structure, through vision, through shadow, through mirrors. And now it delivers its final imprint, a key phrase, a verbal download that ties it all together. It may come from your own mouth or from someone else's, a friend, a stranger, a song lyric, even a slip of the tongue. You might think, but what if I miss it? You won't, because even if your mind brushes past it, your body won't let you forget. The moment will echo. It'll replay itself when you're falling asleep. It'll reappear in a dream. It'll nag you the next day when you're doing something totally unrelated. That's the universe circling back saying, did you catch it? Don't ignore it. Don't rush past it. Because in that phrase is your next move. It carries direction, clarity, closure, or the key to a door you didn't know you were standing in front of. This is the punctuation mark at the end of Mercury's 3-day ritual. And like any good ritual, it doesn't just end, it transforms. So when that moment happens, and it will, pause, let it land, write it down, speak it again if you must. Because everything you've experienced, the thoughts, the mirrors, the dreams, the emotions, has been leading to this. A phrase that sounds like you, but feels like someone else entirely. Maybe your future self, maybe your soul, maybe something even older. And when it clicks, you'll understand why you found this message when you did. If this journey stirred something inside you, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and if you're part of this growing family, press that bell icon so you don't miss what's coming next. And drop the number 77 in the comments to anchor this energy in your field, because the signal has been sent. And now you know how to hear it.